Hey everybody. This is sort of a different way for me to start a video. I'm going to talk a little bit about the recent FCC. We'll start with the word silliness and kind of go from there. I've seen a lot of people put out stuff about this, and thank you very, very much. This is one of the dumbest public notices I think I've ever seen come out of DC in the time I've been watching closely, especially when it comes to drones. I mean, it's... okay. I've had a lot of time to think about how to do this video. Kenji and Kyle and I were in DC 2 weeks ago, had some time to talk about it with some FCC officials. Last week I was in Oklahoma flying towers all week, so driving there and back, and then obviously time in hotels at night. I had a lot of time to think about this and how I wanted to do it. But really it comes down to the fact that this is fucking bullshit. And I apologize for that. That is not my usual tone. If you know anything about me at all, it's rare I curse in public, but when I do, I mean it. This is the biggest bunch of crap I think I've ever seen come out of the FCC, much less anywhere in DC. It's what happens when morons, either elected or appointed, or government officials who are morons, are allowed to make public notices and make proposed legislation and proposed regulation about stuff they have no frickin' idea what it is. And this is what happens. This is exactly what comes out of there. Okay, hang on. Okay. Calm. First of all, that's not how you write a comment to the FCC. I'll explain that here in just a bit. But let's just get right into it. Excuse me. I'm sorry. In case you haven't noticed, this is really frustrating the hell out of me. Anyway, so what they did is on August 3rd, they put into the Federal Register a public notice called Seeking Comment on Prohibiting the Importation and Marketing of Certain Foreign-Produced Military-Grade Unmanned Aircraft Systems, UAS, and UAS critical components for non-U.S. government, including those with swarming capabilities. That's just a really long title, as we want to screw you guys out of your business and out of your fun and kill Americans because they want to get rid of first responder fleets. That's all that means, and that's what's so bullshit about all this, is they have no clue about what they're doing. And we've told them, I've told them, I know many of y'all have told them as well, that you can't do this to this industry. You are killing small businesses across the country, tens or hundreds of thousands of small businesses. You're killing Americans across the country. People who are going to or first responders are not going to be able to use the drones that are listed in this stupid proposal once they're out of service. It's not going to happen. Okay, one more time. Okay. Calm down. Okay. What we're going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about what they're asking. They are asking the FCC, asking some very, very specific questions about what they need to hear from us. Now, are they open to suggestions? I would like to think yes. But after our meeting, and it's public record because it has to go into public record. Kenji Sugahara, Kyle Nordfors, and I met a week ago last Thursday, so it'll be the 30th, with Adam Chan, who is the National Security Advisor for the FCC, about this very thing. We had a decent meeting, I think. I'm not sure how good it was as far as making him change his mind, making him realize exactly what he and his agency are doing. And then, of course, Brendan Carr was at the CDA, American Drone Dominance event, which is why we were, and Kenji and I were in D.C. anyway on the 31st. And he just sat up on the dais and absolutely spewed bullshit. It just shows that there are people in D.C. that really have no freaking idea what they're doing. So, again, okay, one more time. Okay, now let's get into this. I've calmed down, I think, I hope. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to try and make this as short as I possibly can. And again, this is so different than what I normally do. So if you're logging on here and expecting a nice calm Vic boss, ain't going to happen, brother. It just isn't. I'm upset. This has caused me to lose sleep. And I'm not happy about that. Let's just leave it at that. And let's get into this before the FCC cuts off my license here. I don't have an FCC license, by the way, but they could shut off our page, I guess, on YouTube, maybe. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so here's what's going on is the FCC is asking some very specific questions. And I've got to have list all this stuff below here, but this all started a couple weeks ago when they released a fact sheet, which is right here. It kind of gives a real short sort of explanation about what they're going to try and do, what they're proposing they do. And what they're proposing they do is remove the FCC licenses from stuff that's already been approved. And that's something they promised they wouldn't do, by the way. Remember that. Remember when we were talking about this a while back, when they were talking about some of the other stuff. They're we're not going to make you stop flying what you already have, which they're also saying again, by the way. But I don't trust the government. I really don't. And it pains me to say that, but it's true, at least some of it. There's some really great people in the government that I've mentioned before, but the ones who are behind this and those in the private sector who are behind this as well fall into two camps, either ignorant or complacent. And I think we know who the complacent ones are. They're the U.S. manufacturers. They're the organization that supports them, without mentioning any names, because I do not have a cadre of lawyers working for me, as opposed to they do. And people in D.C. who are vehemently against DJI, Autel, and all things China. Drones are the easiest target right now when it comes to the anti-China fervor in D.C. right now. And I'm trying not to make this political, but it's going to happen because that's how it is. Okay. Back to the public notice. Again, this right here, again, I'll link below. You need to read this. You need to kind of get in the mind of whoever wrote it. It's a scary place to be, but it's worth it. So you've got this one here. Again, I'll make sure we link below. The other one is the actual public notice. This one is 11 pages long, but it kind of goes into a little more detail about exactly what they're proposing. So we got these. They were published on July 21st, so I think I got it the day after or something like that. So today's the 10th, and by the way, I'm getting a little late because of my schedule over the last couple of weeks. But it's given me time. It's given others time to really kind of sit down and digest what it is. The other thing they did is they registered, or they published it in the Federal Register on August 3rd. You'll see that right here. And what that does is it starts the 30-day clock. So it'll be on September 2nd, right in the middle of Commercial UAV Expo, when the comments are due. That's in 23 days from today. So make sure you do that and or read that. And this kind of summarizes again what they're looking to do. So let's talk a little bit about exactly what they're trying to do. And again, read this. Again, I'll put all three links in there. Then I'll also put the link to the actual docket. So that'll help as well. And it's also in the FCC link is going to be, it's going to be down below. It just makes life a lot easier. So anyway, I'll put the docket in here, and it's docket number 26-189. That's important. You'll understand here in a bit. But let's get into exactly what it is they're trying to do. Okay, they're asking very specific questions, and to Chan's credit, to Mr. Chan's credit, he did say they really want to hear if the definitions are correct. And I will say, with the exception of one, they're so far incorrect. It's not even in the same category. It's not even the same country as far as whether or not they're correct or not. So here's what they're doing. They're asking us, let's start about what's covered. What's covered, and this is what they want to do. They want to get rid of all marketing. They want to get rid of sales. They want to get rid of importation of all drones that fall under this category. Under these categories. First of all, swarming drones. That includes drone light show drones because they swarm. Drones specifically designated to integrate defense articles. Okay, Good. That's a military drone, right? That's a military drone. As long as defense is like national defense, we're seeing these drones now, and we're seeing in certain schools that they fly. There's a shooter situation or something like that, and they can fly in and attack the drone. That could be integrated defense with the pepper balls and the lights they have. Anyway, sorry. Thermal imaging drones. This will make it illegal to sell, market, or import any thermal imaging drone. Think about that for a minute. Drones integrating LiDAR sensing. Again, market, import, or sell any LiDAR sensing drones. Aerosol drones capable of dispensing economic poison. That's actually an FAA definition, I believe, under 137. Economic poison, it's an interesting sound, but those are ag sprayers, folks, in case you didn't figure that out, which I'm sure you did. Drone docking stations. Okay, I'll get into that in a minute. Drone docking stations, and then the last category is UAS that weigh over 55 pounds. That's a lot of Hollywood drones, folks. But anyway, so they want to take those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different categories of drones and put them on the list of where the FCC will revoke those licenses for sale, for importation, and for marketing. I am not sure how the FCC's authority extends to marketing, but we're seeing some interesting things out of DC these days. So maybe that's something else you want to comment on. So anyway, okay, let's get back to this. What they want to do is, and again, FCC is asking some very specific questions. Is the FCC's definition of military grade correct? Because they're all 7 of those categories, they're considered military grade. This is probably the most important question. Well, one of the 2 most important questions for DSPs to answer, drone service providers. Does the list adequately capture military-grade UAS and critical components? Does it capture? Absolutely, it captures them, but the trouble is using a hand grenade to kill a gnat. It captures a whole lot more. Are there things on the list that are not actually military grade? About 99.9% of them. So yeah, definitely. Are there military U.S. components the FCC has left off the list? Not my area of expertise. If it's yours, go for it. Comment accordingly. And this is a huge, huge, huge opening for DSPs to go ahead and comment on. The FCC is explicitly asking us, yes, thermal LiDAR docks and certain coordinated flight systems are on the list, but their presence alone should not necessarily make them include them into military grade certification. I'm sorry. My brain is working a lot faster than my mouth today. This has really upset me. In case you haven't figured that out or not. So they do that. Okay, back to the first question. Is the FCC definition of military grade correct? No, it's not. It's not. Read the public notice, read the fact sheet they put out, and then read a bunch of other stuff. People have been putting stuff out. It's just freaking awesome to see how many people have risen up against this. So it's really, really, really awesome to see. So question 1, is the FCC's definition of military grade correct? Answered already. Do these aircraft actually create particularly acute national security risks? I think a better question is, can they? Can they? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But so can a pressure cooker. Remember Boston Marathon? Those were pressure cookers. So the simple fact that they can is absolutely asinine to use as a metric on the definition. It's beyond stupid. It's beyond moronic. It's okay, enough. I'm sorry. I'm really trying really hard not to do this one. So do these aircraft actually create particularly acute national security risks? I think we can concentrate on the word acute. No, they do not. They really don't. They don't create the risks that they say they do. They don't. Can they be used? Absolutely. Is it acute? No, it's not acute. It's on the margin at best. So no, they don't. Let's see what else they want to talk about. Okay, here's a good one. Does adding a thermal camera to a commercial inspection drone actually make the national security threat materially greater? No, absolutely not. Again, more bullshit. It's just this over-encompassing, over-eager, overarching, over-egomaniacal That's not a word, but I just made it up. For somebody to come up with this, we use thermal cameras all the time. I don't own any. It's not something I want to store in my brain pan, at least as far as, the metrics behind it and that kind of stuff. People who use it, though, all use it all the time for inspections, for pet searches, for incident commander at a fire is going to throw a thermal drone up and make sure that his crew is safe, so he doesn't send them into a smoke-filled fire that actually has a room full of fire. You can see through that. You can see through the smoke. National Forest. We have a bunch of fires here in Colorado and all over the country right now because of the drought. And the National Forest, or lots of different people, use the in coordination with air bosses on these fire lines. They'll put up thermal drones to find the hot spots above the smoke or below the smoke. By the way, side note, if you fly your drone and ground aerial aircraft that are fighting that thing, I hope you get your ass thrown in jail. I'm dead serious about that. It is stupid. Ignorance is just not an excuse anymore. Okay, I'm back. So, LiDAR is another one. LiDAR. They say that LiDAR is military because you can use it to see below the foliage and find assets and military people and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, okay. So what? It's a very, very, very useful tool in not only doing things like mapping, inspections, that kind of thing, but the way it's written. My Neo 2 is military grade, and I don't know about you, but I can't even figure out how to hurt somebody with that Neo 2, running them full into the face at full power. Maybe cut them up a little bit. So it's not military grade. It's asinine. Automated docks. I don't even know how to go here, but I'm going to try. Automated docks are essential to public safety, essential to fire detection, essential to security. And could they be used? I don't know how. I mean, if you've got a dock, okay, let's back up a little bit. If you've got if you have a war going on, let's say a ground war, because who knows what the next war is going to be like. So a ground war. You'd have to have a mobile dock for it really to be useful. So could you use it? Absolutely. But no, that's not going to be its military grade, or it's not going to be its primary military use. I had a meeting with program director for a very large public utility, and they are really, really developing their dock program to go up and automatically inspect power lines, transmission lines, assets, and things like that to detect issues before they become major issues. And they're saving thousands or millions of dollars, not only in repairs, but, unless you have a parallel universe, you can't really see what's going to happen if that particular fault in a power line, goes bad at some other time. So it's not quantitative that you can actually go ahead and put a dollar number on what you save, but anybody with more than 3 synapses firing together at the same time can come to the same conclusion that these things are saving lives, they're saving money, they're saving property, and that is just public utilities that use them. The drone, light show drones. How stupid, how absolutely, utterly stupid does somebody have to be to consider a light show drone military grade? I mean, that is asinine beyond asinine. Again, this is not your normal DSPA Vic Moss video. I'm pissed off about this, and I'm done being Mr. Nice Guy and being Mr. Diplomat. From now on, I'm going to be diplomatically blunt and occasionally undiplomatically blunt when it comes to this kind of crap. So, light show drones are frickin' not military grade. I don't have any other way to say that. Do they swarm? Yeah, that's kind of the whole damn point of a light show drone. Of course they swarm. Can they be used for military? I guess you could swarm a bunch of them in front of an active military runway and not let a plane take off. And, we are seeing them in Ukraine and other spaces where they're being used in war. But just because they're being used doesn't mean they are military grade. Okay. Next. Quit, Vic. Okay, this is going to be a longer video. I want it to be. I apologize in advance. I will also have an article, and a link will be below as well, a little more in depth about what all this is. And I'm going to try real hard to go a little faster through the next questions that it's asking. Another one where we really, really, really need to make a difference, or make a comment is, what are the economic and supply chain consequences? The economic consequences are utter disaster for the drone service provider community. It's that simple. The long-term economic consequences would be utter disaster for the entire aviation industry, because we're not just talking about commercial work. We're talking about we're talking about the recreational flyer. And I've said it before. Lots of people have said it before. We've gotten on this soapbox. It's like the aviation industry is running out of people. They're running out of pilots. They're running out of aerospace engineers. They're running out of mechanics. And so many of the people who are currently in that field are those who started at something like an AMA field and learned how to fly RC aircraft. That is not as popular as it used to be. But drones have taken that and just run with it. So recreational drones are hugely important, not only to the drone industry, but to the aviation industry in general. So, okay, so the economic impact is, tell a story here. Say, hey, you know what? If I can't fly my drones in 2 years, because we're not going to be able to fly our drones in 2 years, because of they're just not made to last that long, or however long you fly it. We're not going to be able to replace them, because nothing exists to replace our current drones we use. Period. End of discussion. Hard stop. No argument. Shut up if you think otherwise, because you're an idiot. There's nothing that exists to replace these drones. Even at the enterprise level, there's nothing that exists that's good, or as good. Let's say the X10 is getting better. I will give them that. But it's still 3, 4, 5 times the cost, half the capacity. So where's that at? And that's just for enterprise. And they're the only really true enterprise. There are some good American drones. I won't name them simply because I don't want to. I don't want to put them in the same group as the people I'm talking about right now. And there are some very good ones. If you're in this industry, you know who they are, and I encourage you to go ahead and look at those as well. But they don't make the Mavic. They don't make the Air. They don't make the Inspire. They don't make the Mini. Nobody makes the Mini. They don't make the Matrice. They don't make those things. They don't make the Evo. They don't make the Max. Nobody does. They're great American companies. They put out a really nice product, but they don't make what 90% of us fly. So, okay. So supply chain consequences, yeah. The supply chain gets shut off. It's going to be the same thing as the economics. It's just going to be shut off. So it asks, do commenters agree that the economic and supply chain impacts are relatively minor and contained? Absolute 100% no. I was going to say something else. And I don't want to keep bleeping myself out here. Are domestically produced alternatives available? Again, absolutely not. Would the proposal be cost effective for the public in obtaining trusted equipment? No. Would providers' compliance costs decrease as the replaced covered equipment? Let me try that again in English. Would suppliers' compliance costs decrease as they replace covered equipment with trusted equipment? No. Again, let's go back to the second question. Are they available? No. Sorry, almost slipped there. No. The FCC explicitly says it strongly encourages commenters to supply data and other specific evidence of economic cost. What is it going to cost you to replace your drones with a compliant drone, assuming one exists? And what will it cost you in revenue if you have to go out of business? What will it cost in revenue if you have to go back to doing things? As a photographer, videographer, I spent plenty of time hanging out of 172s and 182s. And what's it going to cost to me to get a pilot to fly me up there at I think it was $250 an hour wet at the time. And then, safety. What's safer? A Cessna 172 with 2 people in it flying over a site, or a drone that weighs 2 pounds. I mean, safety is huge. Okay, sorry, back. Again, so have specific stories, have specific costs, do a little bit of research. We have till September 2nd, unless we can get an extension. If we do, I'll make sure we push that out publicly. Our company has an M350 with an H30T payload, and this is what it costs. I'm flying a Mavic 3 Enterprise or Mavic 4 Pro. This is what it costs, and this is what is available. I've got 14 drones in my fleet right now. What's it going to cost me to replace all these in 2 years? And it's always a good idea, I think, at this point. And this is getting a lot longer than I wanted to. I so apologize. That You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to go there. Okay, sorry. I'll go back to my list. I'm getting so off track here. I so apologize. Will it produce economic benefits? No, it won't. It's freaking ridiculous to even ask that stupid ass a question. What economic effect would result from increased investment in U.S. production caused by this prohibition? It will definitely increase, and we're already seeing an increase in U.S. investment in the U.S. industry. The trouble is, it's all defense. Every single dime that I know of has either gone to defense or it's gone to the counter UAS. What, $25 million or whatever it was for the FIFA event. So it's either counter UAS or it's defense. Nothing for the commercial industry, and absolutely nothing for the recreational industry. Do national security benefits outweigh the economic harm? Hell no. Absolutely not. I'm all for national defense. I have a brother who's career military, drove an M1 Abrams for his career. I understand the need for national security. I'm an American first person. I love my country. Not so much my government lately, but at what cost to the thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of small businesses that are going to be belly up? I'm not, I do ground photography and videography. I will not go out of business, but it will cut it'll cut a lot of my income out. I'll have to do things differently like I did when I started this silly business in 1988. So again, get back to the economic part of it. What is it going to do to you? Can you even replace stuff? I don't want to make this much longer. So, is 180 days is what they're talking about making this. Once this goes, they talk about 180-day deadline to cut all this crap off. This is going to stop the sale, importation, and marketing of these particular aircraft, like I mentioned, in such a broad manner that it doesn't explicitly say private sales, but doesn't explicitly exclude private sales. I've got a couple of drones for sale. I've got one now, a Mini 4 Pro that I don't use anymore. So if this passes and I put that on Facebook Marketplace or whatever, is that going to then put me in violation of this FCC rule? Because I'm marketing my drone that is going to be covered under this particular bill or under this particular proposal. So put some thought into this, write it up as usual, open up a PDF or open up a, whatever if you're using, if you're using Mac, Mac, use Pages. If you're using PC, use Word, something along those lines where you can write all this stuff down and get your thoughts in order. Run it through ChatGPT, run it through Claude and make it a little more succinct. Remember, a human person is going to be reading this. It's not going to be read by a machine. And the person who's reading this is not the one who's actually putting all this crap out. So be nice to them. Do not use the same tone in your comment that I'm using in this video. I'm not in my comment. I'll be very professional. So make sure you do that. So what do you do? Let's talk about how you do it exactly. Again, I'm going to have a link below. And what you want to do is go to the FCC document that is going to be, again, it's going to be right below. It's the ECFS. It's the Federal Communications Commission electronic filings procedure. So the FCC ECFS, and it's the docket right here. Docket number is 26189. Again, this is going to be, this link will be below. And as of right now, July 20th at noon Mountain Time, we've had 469 filings. That is freaking awesome. So thank you so much, everybody who's putting this out. It's incredible that what we're seeing. So do that, and then you're either going to submit a standard filing or an express filing. If you just want a real quick 100, 200 page comment, use the express filing. And if you want to do a standard one, use the standard one. And you click on, let's say, standard, like I just did there. And it self-populates 26189. You have to do the name of the person. If you're submitting on behalf of a organization, like I'll submit on behalf of DSPA, you'll need to write that down as well. You're going to email for confirmation is optional. You don't have to do it. I would suggest you do it, but that's just me. Type of filing. You are filing a comment. So you need to make sure you do that. File number, report number, you don't need any. Address is required. It is not going to be published. It is required, though, because they will follow up. And then if you're going to write your doc, save it as a PDF. It just works better as a PDF, whether even if you do it on a Mac or if you do it on a PC. Either way, save it as a PDF. You click click or drop files here. So click on it, select what you want to do, go ahead, and then it'll upload. It'll check it, obviously. Do you want an email confirmation of this filing? Click yes. It's just a good idea to have it. And then click by checking this box, I acknowledge that I'm filing, blah, 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 blah. And then you go on and continue to the review screen. Check everything is right, because it won't let you go forward if you didn't get all the starred boxes on this particular page done. And you're good to go. So please, 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 please do that. Write it professionally, unlike this comment or unlike this video. Be very professional, be very succinct, and give them a story, give them numbers, give them facts about what this is going to do if they go through with what they're trying to do, what it's going to do to your business, what it's going to do to your hobby, because it affects recreational just as much as it does commercial. So that's what I've got today. Thank you very much. I will apologize again for the tone of this particular video, but I'm over it. I'm beyond Mr. Nice anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the crap that we have to put up with from DC, and it's garbage, and it's frustrating, and it's okay. Try this again. Sorry. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of people give up, and oh man, do I give it. I get it. There are times it's just like, I just want to say, fuck it, and throw in the towel, shut everything down, and just go about my own damn business. Do what I can do as long as I can do it. But if we do that, if we go with that attitude, if we go with that feeling, they've won. The assholes have won, and we don't want that to happen. I love what I do. I love this industry. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't, because Lord knows I don't get paid for this. What we can do with drones recreationally, commercially, first responders, search and rescue, finding lost Fido that's been out in the woods for 2 days without medication. I mean, holy crap, the things we do with our drones. And these people, these ignorant assholes who are putting this kind of crap out, it just floors me. I bet if you went to every single one of them and said, tell you what, if you take that infrared drone, if you take that FLIR drone out of the hands of somebody who could then find that lost child, lost Alzheimer's patient, lost pet, would you then go to that person and say, sorry, we took the best tool out of the hands of the people who could have saved your aunt, your uncle, your son, your grandparent, Fido, your cat, the cows or the calves that are born during calving season and the blizzard? Are you going to go to that person and say, sorry, my bad? No, they're not. I guarantee they're not going to do that because they don't have the balls to do it. They're going to sit behind their little desks and their little bureaucratic cocoons of bull and make these rules and not give a damn about the consequences. So, okay, wait, I'm back. Sorry. Stop that. Okay, please do this. We have until September 2nd. And don't wait till September 2nd. Again, we've got the time to do this. We've got the time to do it right. Make sure you make a point to do it. And please, 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 let's stop with all the negativity. As tempting as it is, it was said best in Kelly's Heroes when Donald Sutherland was talking about stuff going on. And I'll leave you with this.
Why don't you knock it off with them negative waves? Why don't you dig how beautiful it is out here? Why don't you say something righteous and hopeful for a change?
So again, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for putting this up. Thank you for putting up with my language. I promise from now on there won't be like this, but I'm done. I'm sick and tired of this. I've got NPRM comment burnout. And it's very frustrating to continue to beat your head against the wall, but it's something we have to do as a community. So, as always, I'm going to end this by saying have fun, fly safe, but not necessarily in that order because I just got it backwards. So fly safe and have fun in that order. And everybody have a great day. Please do this, and God bless. Bye.